Welcome back, everyone. Another Chime episode for everyone that's part of Chime. And if you're tuning in and you're not part of Chime, well, good luck, because we've got Aurora, who's an amazing user of Chime. Aurora Courtney, because we've got two Auroras today, Aurora Baker, Aurora Courtney, and then kind of in between, awkwardly, Mark and I fit in here, which we're also co-hosting this. So Aurora Baker, where are you from? What area are you out of?
Washington State, primarily Eastern Washington.
Awesome. And Mark Rader, where are you joining us from, buddy?
Malibu, California.
Nice. And I'm from I'm neighbors to Mark Rader. We're on the same team here. So, and then we're all interviewing Aurora Courtney. Aurora, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much.
And where are you joining us from? Because we see a pile of snow on a ceiling somewhere, or a rooftop, or what is that? Garage?
It's a parking garage, actually. So we have a lovely parking garage. It's Anchorage, Alaska, and we've had some very strange weather lately. We were up to 40 degrees on Saturday, which was very unlike our normal February temperatures. So it's been great, but a lot of stuff's melting, so it's pretty icy here. And these snow piles, it was much bigger before than it is now.
That's cool. I love that. That's kind of hot for Alaska right now.
It's really hot. Yeah, it's hot.
I was expecting more snow back there.
Yeah, no, I know. It was much bigger, but yeah, the roads are actually dry too, as you can see with these cars going by.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining us today, Aurora. We want to know more about the process that you have with your clients, where this is called going above and beyond with your clients. We want to know before, during, and after. What does that look like for your clients? Because you have great success with these Chime leads and your database.
So first of all, I think that you have to define what your client is, because when I first started in real estate, people told you it was buyers, sellers, or investors. And I took that to heart. And then I realized, and a lot of this comes from my mom, but she was like, your clients are everybody you meet all the time. And even if they're not your clients, they're your raving fans, which are people who say nice things behind your back, whether they buy, sell, or do anything with you ever. I think you treat them all like a client. Same with my vendors, title officers, lenders. So I've sold houses to title officers. I've sold houses to my handyman. I've sold them to tile people. I sold a loan processor house. And why would they pick me over someone else? And it's probably because I treat them like they're one of my people, you know? So I feel like the first part of deciding who a client is realizing it's everybody. So I guess that's the first thing is, you know, when you have the feeling that everyone is part of your group or your tribe, or however you want to say it, or your world, you know, then you start to bring people into you, and then they treat you differently. When someone likes you, they're much nicer to you. And you know, that's kind of the way humans are. So sorry, guys. So I guess the first thing that I do before they become clients is I try to give to them. So whether it's in the form of, like I did investment mixers before COVID, where I would go and I'd analyze a deal with them, because it's not that hard. I'd basically use the Bigger Pockets toolbox and talk about how you think about utilities and reserve accounts and stuff like that, and then show them and give them the power to try that out themselves. So I'd have these meetings. We called it a Tag Up Tuesday. I like these silly names.
Ooh,
So,
I like that.
yeah. So we did the Tag Up Tuesdays, and we did it at a local, like a restaurant that was in the bottom of a hotel. And I would buy appetizers, and then they would just show up, and I build it and they will come. I thought, what if no one shows up? But worse yet, what if one person comes? How awkward. But they didn't. More people came, you know, and it was good. So I give back before I ask for anything. So I give them the opportunity to come to a party. We had Halloween parties, Christmas parties. We did the Tag Up Tuesday. I'm looking down here, sorry, and 2 wine parties every year. So different people went to every one of those. And my database has, I don't know, a couple thousand people in it, but about 150 people would come to the parties and actually want to be a part of that kind of more close-knit group that I created. And then also giving back means that I give money to anything someone asks me for, which I hope not everyone is listening right now. But if Girl Scouts come and they want to have me buy something, I buy the tag-alongs. And and I don't eat them because I can't. I'm allergic to them, but I give them out,
wow.
you know, and I give them to the next client. So I get to make one person happy by buying the cookies, and then I give them to the next one. So I get like a 2-for-1 on every box of Girl Scout cookies. Anyway.
Aurora,
Yeah.
Right after this, Mark Rader's selling Boy Scout cookies. So.
I'll buy them. I mean,
do a twofer.
it's a twofer. I'll give it to Tristan. So the other thing is I had a client who wanted to be, or she was the sponsor for Rendezvous. So I was like interested in what she had to say. And she said, why don't you sponsor for Rondi? And I thought, gosh, that's a huge sponsorship. I can't afford it. But I thought to myself, it's something that she wants. And they think about the commission that you get from these people. And if they're passionate about something and they're your people, then maybe I would enjoy it. So I ended up sponsoring for Rondi for the last couple of years. And it gives back to the community. People see your face. Maybe I don't get a deal from it, but they 65,000 of these magazines and I'm in it, you know? And so I feel like getting like just the brand recognition and stuff like this and having your signs everywhere. And, you know, I think it's good for you, good for your clients, but it's good for your business too.
Where are you getting most of your business from right now? Like, where's it coming from?
So I have to be honest. I would say about 30% comes from either a current paid lead or a second tier current lead that I paid for. So about 30%. The rest of it's either coming from referrals or coming from some of the Chime organic stuff that I'm starting to get by actually getting myself out there. But what I've seen is, or what I feel is the people who are referring their friends and relatives and trusted parties to me are a lot easier for me to work with. They like me. They already know, like, and trust me. They treat me better. They believe what I have to say. I don't have to convince them or show proof, you know, the hard part. So, you know, I feel like that's what I'm trying to do here. And so I use Chime for my birthday club. So I guess after I get them in my net, the fish, when I have them during the transaction, I try to get their birthdays and then I send them these cute birthday cards that I always support local. So I have a bakery that gives me cupcakes and I mail them in a card with my logo.
Oh, that's cool. Can you
Yeah.
show that little cute unicorn?
It's
a bear with an upside down ice cream
that's
cone?
my logo.
Okay.
It's a birthday bear.
It's a birthday. Oh yeah, this one. Yeah. So that's a little easier.
Oh, that's
cool.
Awesome.
So it's a note card and I have it printed. This is moo.com. And we write happy birthday. And then I always use real stamps. Like, I don't know if I'm a weirdo, but I love stamps. Like, this is a dragon. They have scratch and sniff stamps. They have dinosaurs. They have everything. And I think it's a really nice touch. So I don't spray them. I don't have them set through the machine. I pay my daughter. She's 12. I pay her to stamp them because I feel like it makes people feel like you did it. And we did. We gave it love. And I actually think about it. I'm like, what would Aurora like? Aurora probably likes dinosaurs, you know, and then I'll put probably a dinosaur on you. I don't know. But
my favorite is a stegosaurus, but I do just want to say that in general, I love that because it is way more personal.
Yeah.
You know, and especially with those mail outs, there are so many systems now. And I know we've all seen them where you can tell that they were trying to make it look authentic and handwritten and hand stamped. But if you look for a few more seconds, you realize it's not. I love that personal touch. I think that's a great example of just showing people that you actually do care and being authentic, which I love as a client.
I do too, because when I open it, I'm like, oh, wow, someone sent me something. How exciting. You know, and we put something on the back. We have these stickers. We also get these from moo.com and they're kind of like a matchbook. But another thing, you know, it just feels like special when you have to remove this, you know. I tried sealing back. That's too hard. I don't have time.
All right. So tell me about the birthday club. What is this? And do you put everyone on this or just like your top tier database?
So I kind of went with the A's, B's, C's kind of client database where C's, I have no idea what they would do if someone asked them, but B's probably would refer me if they knew how. A's are people who would refer me or have referred me. And then A+ are people who've given me multiple referrals. So when I do the birthday club, I give whether A's or B's have ever bought from me, I typically put them in. I also make sure people I want to support my business, whether they've ever bought before or not, I want them to talk about me. So I give them the birthday club too. And I pull a lot of the birthdays off of Facebook originally. So every month I pull up the Facebook calendar and I look at whose birthdays are coming up. And I actually have an accordion folder that has 12 months in it. And then we can do it ahead of time because right now we're going to get a little busier, hopefully soon when more inventory shows up. But for now, we're just setting them up and we have them in an accordion folder by month. And as a new client comes in, one of our procedures is to ask what their birthday is if they're a client. So I send out about, I don't know, really not that many. I would say 15 a month maybe. And I would say 2 people redeem them. So the cost to me is, I think it's $2.50 for the card. The stamp's 44 cents. So under $3 probably for the package. And then if they buy the cupcakes, it's only $7. So if they buy a house from me, I think the $7 is worth it to buy a cupcake. So
Cool.
For
So
sure.
the local bakery just charges you per redemption.
yeah. So I went in and I just talked to the owner and I told him what I was trying to do and that I love his stuff. He makes macaroons or macarons, however you say it, also, and salads. It's called Sweet Caribou. They're awesome. And they're willing to just take these. So I printed, where'd it go? This is just a business card. I printed a business card using Canva and it's literally just my card, basically. So it fits next to it. And then it just says, sorry, good for 2 cupcakes. Happy birthday from Tide Real Estate. Pick up your treats at Sweet Caribou. And then I have an expiration just so 10 years from now, I'm not still paying for cupcakes. Cupcakes.
What's the expiration?
I usually do 2 months, but I told the owner, I just said, I don't care as long as they redeem them. It's fine with me. I only put the expiration because what if, 10 years from now, I'm just like not in the business and I'm still getting these silly cupcake things back. So, not that I wouldn't be in the business in 10 years, but I just felt like it was a good idea. But he redeems them no matter what. But I get thank yous, whether people redeem them or not.
That's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it puts you in the front of their mind.
Yeah. And they feel special. And that's really all that matters, whether they buy from me or not. It's you have to, if the world around you is chaotic and stressful, the only person I can control is myself and how I treat others. And if you treat others nice, it's really hard for them to be negative around you. So the more positivity I put out there, whether it comes back to me or it comes back to Mark or Tristan or Aurora, like these people are much easier to get along with when they're nicer. so this makes people happy. So yeah. Also when people come in to my database for whatever reason, like leads from referral sources or partial leads that I get through Chime, I mail them a packet it's a letter that just says, hey, thanks for reaching out. If you have questions, let me know. Here's who I am. And I just say a little bit about myself. So it looks real. I actually sign them if I can. And then we mail it out. I have a Keeping Current Matters guidebook that I put it with it just because some things.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So like personalize that with my face and my phone number and stuff. And I just shove it in. It doesn't take that much time. Again, it's like, I think $1.77 to mail. The envelope is whatever, 15 cents or something. So less than $3, we get it out the door. And I've had a couple of calls on it. None of them have actually really come through, but I know people are getting them because they're calling and asking questions. But I feel like at the end of the day, if I just get one person to come into the fold that way, it was worth it the whole time. Whether they pick me or not, it's still better for the industry to have other professionals working with educated clients who know what's going on. So whether they're my client or someone else's, it doesn't really matter because I might end up being the buyer on that deal. And at least they know what's going on. So I feel like it's worth it.
That's Mark, you had something you wanted to ask, Mark?
Yeah, I was just gonna say my birthday's in May. If you want, if you have some extra cupcake coupons left over.
What day in May? I'm writing it down.
I
only
don't
problem
think
is
she's gonna
Mark-
pay for your flight up to Sweet Caribou though. So
No, okay. So wait, actually, I do want to say that. So if it's not an in-state person, I don't leave them out in the dark. I actually put in these. Hold on, let me show you this. It says "You're Awesome" pop-up cards, and basically they open, and it says "Celebrating You," pops open, and then it says something nice in it.
That's so cool.
That you are a wonderful, unique person. That you are a once in all history event. And they all are different, but I don't leave them out, so they still get something special.
That's cool.
That's so cool. I love that. All right. So tell us, you've got this before, and I'm assuming it's also after, but what happens during the transaction? What sets you apart?
So what sets me apart, or at least, some advice. I don't even know where I was when I heard this, but what the speaker said was, I have 100% control of what's going on in the transaction of what I control. Like I can't control the title companies up here, which are having a little bit of a problem. But what I can't control is how people feel about it. So everyone knows here who does real estate, there's a lot of ups and downs, right? So, we're going to be late closing, or the home inspector's not there, or they found something horribly wrong. What are we going to do? Well, instead of bringing my clients along during that roller coaster ride, I kind of leave them on the side for a second. And if I find, get the home inspection and everyone's scared, I get the estimates. And then I'm like, you guys have the home inspection, but don't worry, I already have the estimates coming. They're scheduled to come tomorrow, and we'll have that for you, and nothing to worry about, and keep them in the loop, but don't let them fly with you. The second I get a terrible phone call, I don't pick up the phone and tell my client. I pick up the phone and I ask more questions, and I know what they're going to ask because I'm a human that owns a house too. And I would be terrified if I heard that. But really, a lot of the time, like, all the information is what you need to keep people happy and having a good time. So during a transaction, I try to control the experience to be something that's fun and exciting. I do it, I don't even know how many times a year. So for me, it's not always super exciting and new and fresh, but for them it is, because most people don't buy and sell all the time. So I just try to give them all the information as it comes. I, thanks to Brett, have been making videos, which it's really hard for me to do, but I've been sending them as yay, you're pended, get your earnest money in the door, however you do it, and let me know, we need to make sure it's deposited. Okay, it's time to get a home inspection. Here's what to expect. Here, now let's do a repair request, and likely they'll do health and safety only, if anything. So don't expect the whole thing, and I say it nicer, but then I send those emails and I type out what I said, and I can see people are looking at them because of the way the system works. There's through Chime. I put them in as templates, and they're called B1, B2, B3. And it's just, I think there's 5 in the transaction. So I keep them in the loop. And I feel like that education piece is huge, positive energy the whole time. And then at the end of the day, what I try to do is look back and make sure that the process was good. And I try to remind them of, like, hey, when we started, you were looking for this condo, and now we have you in a single family house with a yard, and you can have barbecues. And I know you love walking your dog and you're near a trail. And I try to say it back to them close to the end and remind them of how far we've come, because it is stressful. And especially like right at the end when you're waiting for underwriting and TRID and, 5 days from the CD being issued and all that stuff, it's stressful. So I remind them of why we are happy.
I just want to, if I can, really quick, I just want to circle back to something that Aurora said about her process during, because one of the reasons that I actually wanted to be here today is because I've had the pleasure of working with Aurora. And, I might be somewhat unique because I similarly do this quite a bit, and I'm pretty familiar with the process. But I think that for me, what really stands out is that she anticipates people's needs. Would be the way that I would phrase it. She anticipates people's needs. She doesn't wait for somebody to reach out and have a problem or have a question. She thinks about what she would be feeling in a situation or what she's seen people ask before. And she just goes ahead and gets you the answer before you even have a chance to ask for it. It's really incredible. It's one of those things that I think is really why we're here talking to her today. It's just going above and beyond. It's a simple thing that I think any of us can implement, but maybe not enough of us think to do, right? We wait for something to come to us instead of just jumping on it and taking care of it from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the kind words. I feel like everybody's happier if you can keep everyone in the loop, understanding what's going on, anticipate what they're going to do, get the estimates on their way. Whether you have them or not is one thing, but if you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll have that fence contractor show up, or, like other emergencies show up, random things like not being able to get internet or things like that. And you just have to figure out how and make it happen.
Exactly. You make things so easy. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Aurora, do you have a checklist that you use so that you can at least attempt to stay in front of possible things that happen, or how do you do it?
Yeah. So I will tell you guys a secret, which I know the internet will all know, but people compare me or say that I have similarities to like Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory, because I have like these very particular ways I want things done. And if it's not that way, I don't know what to do. So I have a procedure manual and it's pretty specific, and it goes through the list because I really don't like it when things get out of order. I don't want people to ever feel in the dark. I don't want to forget an as-built survey or things like that I hear other agents doing. And I'm like, oh, where was your checklist? So, yeah, I do have a checklist and we follow it. And it's
So you-
paper because that's how I roll.
Do you have a checklist for a checklist?
No, I just have a checklist, but I print it. And then I think I probably have one right here. But hold on. I think I have one sitting here. I'll show you. Just please hold. Maybe I do.
No problem.
But essentially, I just want to go as an aside here too. When I'm supporting people by buying gifts, I always buy gifts too from my friends or from local businesses if I can. And
Mhm.
by doing that, I just wanted to show you this. So this is a friend of mine. This is frickin' Franco. So he sells salsa, and this little tag says, "I love our relationship."
Oh, nice.
But what
Legit.
this kind of thing does is it brings Jess, who's never bought or sold with me, but he says nice things about me, but it gives my clients something to try. It supports his business, and hopefully he'll support mine. But it makes other people really happy to have that kind of stuff. So here's my checklist. So basically it just goes, from start to finish, everything. Here's who needs to get what, selling licensee, PSA counter, earnest money check. And then on the side, it's a lender, buyer, title. And so everything gets done. We check it off. I have somebody working with me right now who's been helping me, but I have this procedure for buyers, sellers, vacant land, multifamily.
Cool.
And did you create these? Oh, go ahead, Aurora.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, Tristan. I'm like really good at interrupting people.
That's okay. We both are.
But so Aurora, you have that checklist that you saw, but also I think you have something that you sent out to the client as well. Like you have your checklist, and then you have something that you send to the client as well. Obviously, when somebody goes under contract, there are a lot of dates in the contract itself, but most people have a hard time kind of navigating those contracts and really staying on top of it. So I remember you had a checklist of sorts to send that had all those dates laid out in a really like easy to digest kind of way too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So what I did was I took our counteroffer form, and it's got a date, it's a grid, and it says on the counteroffer form all of the different dates that come from the contract. So I basically stole that and I put it in Excel, and then I put the dates, and as we go forward and I reword it a little better, but it says which section and which page that date's coming from. And then I refer back to it. And typically when I first sign a contract with someone, I say something like, hey, this is kind of a timeline from the beginning. Like, here's who's buying it. Here's where it is. Here's how much earnest money is. Here's who your lender is. And then when they start saying like, oh, I don't know what's going on, where are we in the process? And I said, oh, remember, we go through the timeline. Basically, now we're on page 3, just due diligence. And now we need to request repairs. And I sort of just keep bringing them back to their own contract because I want them to read it, which they might not. But at least if they have that in front of them, they can look back and read all the particulars when they start to get worried or have questions or concerns.
Yeah, I think you just did like a really good job of making it super easy to follow for somebody who say it was their first transaction ever.
Mhm.
You take it really step by step. So yeah, it's just something I haven't seen a lot of people do. I actually don't think that I do as good of a job with that as you do, as just really laying it out and giving somebody a resource that they can refer back to as often as they need to during the process.
Yeah. Well, that's, I guess as a client myself, I would want to know what's going on or what's the next thing to worry about, or,
Yeah, absolutely.
things like that, or be prepared for. So I feel like I could, as an improvement for myself, I could probably add some lender stuff in there, like getting your insurance binder or, looking at the prelim and why, or what to look for in a resale certificate. Like, I feel like I have some room for improvement, but I haven't really figured out how I want to do that because it's not my process to control. So I don't want to get out of my lane or anything, but I do think it would be helpful for sure. I think that was kind of, I did have one more. Can I give one more? Oh, sorry. God.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost
Give
my
us
camera.
one more. We lost your camera.
Oh no. I don't know
That's all right.
why.
We can hear you. We can hear
Okay.
you. So here's a question for you.
Okay.
What are you working on next that you think once you implement will improve your deliverability of happiness and just calmness to the client so that they can refer you more?
Oh my gosh. That's a good question. I need to work on being calm myself in general, I suppose, because I do think that chaos breeds chaos in some ways.
Yes, it does. We see it all the time. Let me write. I love that. Chaos breeds chaos. Let me see if, there you go, Aurora, you're back.
Okay. Sorry, I just changed some chords. I don't know what happened. I I feel like when I start to feel anxiety, I start to give it off, and so I don't know what deodorant to put on or whatever you want to call it, but I gotta stay calm and keep everyone around me calm. And I think that would be something I need to work on personally. And I think that the checklist, like Aurora was saying, that helps me actually too. And I started doing it for myself, and then I realized I might as well send it. It's already done. So yeah. So I think that would be something. And then also the full process, I would like to have both something in writing and videos for the full process where someone could find them on my website.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that would actually be really cool. You could just text that over to them too if they have any questions, because it's already done on video.
Yep, because you could have it go to like a Chime page. Basically, I was playing around with it, and then I kind of was like, okay, I need the videos first. I can't play with it right now. But if I could just send the link to it, or that it would take them to the page, and then they could watch the next videos when they're ready. So I think that would be another thing I'd like to do.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Perfect. All right. So one thing you said that I think a lot of us can relate with is calming yourself first, because you're right. When we're all over the place, our clients are going to get that same energy. So it's a really good point that you brought up. I love that.
Yeah. Well, and like if I leave in a state and I don't leave enough time between that and going to someone who's having a new baby and expanding their family, sometimes I feel like I just sit in the car and I'm like, oh gosh, I need more time between appointments because I'm not ready for excitement right now. So timing is everything. So I need to get better about spacing things out. So
that's very cool. All right, guys, we got 1 minute. Any questions that you wanted to add, Aurora, Mark?
I wanted to say something for all the agents listening. Something that Aurora does that I know a lot of clients can appreciate is anytime that she calls, anytime they see her name pop up on their phone, they know that if it's either going to be good news or it's going to be news that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but yet they know that she has a solution already. Sometimes people can get nervous whenever you call because they might be like, oh, is something wrong with my deal? Something wrong with my house? Something wrong with my escrow? And that can also stem over to other agents. If you call the other agents, they're going to know, hey, Aurora has a solution. And for all the other agents out there, if you take the time to do a couple of extra minutes for your homework and find out the solution for the previous phone call that you had that might be an issue, people are going to be really, really happy to work with you, whether that be clients or other realtors in the future.
Yep, that's very true. I think supporting the relationships with other agents is huge. So that's another thing I do. I call and congratulate them when they get cool listings or tell them something I really like about it. Or in my phone, sometimes I'll have like what they like to drink, like coffee, and then I'll bring them a coffee randomly if I know they're going to be somewhere.
That's so good.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's just the little stuff. It seems maybe overkill, but it really works out nicely. I think that's a good point, Mark.
I'm just adding right now, like Mark likes tequila shots. So there you go. Now we know.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I can bring those to go. The road sodas are illegal here.
Yeah, while you're driving, and the whole mix is at the front. You're like, yeah, let's do this.
That's either going to help or hurt with the whole chaos breeds chaos thing.
Especially tequila
shots.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if caffeine's even good for me.
I've seen both ways.
It's so good. I love it.
Or it can help. You never know.
Yeah,
Aurora, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. What areas do you cover so we can send referrals your way if they come to us?
I am licensed in the state of Alaska, but the state of Alaska is huge. So I typically stick, if it's buyers near Anchorage, I can do Wasilla, anything within an hour of Anchorage, Girdwood. If it's a seller, it's a little easier because you can list properties, like remote properties are fine, that kind of stuff, because you list them and forget them. No, I'm just kidding.
And Aurora, if you have any checklists that you can share with us inside of the Chime community, go ahead and pop them on there. Somebody asked, I think it was Alex Burns. He says, if you have anything you can share with us, throw it there.
Yeah, too much. I don't know. I may have to let you pick through it, Tristan.
Just one or two, whatever you think we could use the most as real estate agents.
Sure. I'll send Aurora's favorite. How about that?
That's even better. Yeah. I love that. Aurora Baker, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And Mark Rader, thanks for also joining us as well. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Aurora.
Bye.
Bye.